Bonjour mon petit chifle, Amber here, and we're just about in the middle of December. Today is Friday the 13th of December, and I realized that I still haven't sat down to do my November reading wrap up. To be fair, the first week of December was busy for me. I had like 2 CVV events and I read CVV, and then like I've been in recovery after reading CVV, so whatever, we're gonna talk now. November was a kind of like a chill reading month for me. We stuck with the tradition. Every year in November I reread the Hunger Games trilogy, so I did that again. And I also, if you haven't seen the reading vlog for November, which I actually managed to get up, I got you can't see it really, oh god, I'm gonna insert a picture, but I got a Hunger Games tattoo to commemorate my love for the series and the 10th time reading the series. So anyway, aside from that, I didn't read a ton in November. I feel like every November is kind of like a slow one for me. I get so caught up in Hunger Games and just kind of like take my time through the series. And also November is NaNoWriMo. I attempted Nano, so usually I'm like really focused on that too, but that's a conversation for a different video, which I have to finish filming. I'm gonna stop talking and jump into the book. I did read 3, 4, 5, 6, that's not bad, 6 books in November. So the first book that I finished for November was an ebook. I read this is the face of, I just remembered what the book was. I read In Her Pumpkin In Her Pumpkin Patch by Alina Jacobs, I believe is her name. So as we know, and I say this, I'm saying this more frequently, this year I really kind of started wading into the rom-com, contemporary romance pool. I started with Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey, and so I'm always kind of on the lookout for what people who are more into this genre are hyping up. I don't know if this was necessarily hyped up, but I distinctly remember the tweet when, I don't remember who it was. It was the whole like series of these books with the really cute illustrated covers and then the very suggestive titles, and like book Twitter was like giggling over the titles and the bylines of the books. And this one caught my eye because it was right around Halloween, the end of October, and it was a book about Halloween. It took place around Halloween. The main character is obsessed with Halloween. What is it, the subtitle, the whole thing, it says he wants her face in her pumpkin patch or something like that, and I was like, well then. So like all of her books kind of have those type of setups, and I was just really intrigued by this book because it was a holiday book around Halloween, and I was like, might as well, right? I just need to see what's inside of this ridiculous book. The book follows, is her name Penny? I want to say her name's Penny, but I don't remember. Hold on, let me check Goodreads really quick. Sorry, I'm just getting texts. Brittany from Melon Eclectic is still reading Children of Virtue and Vengeance, and she's texting me right now. We were buddy reading it. I finished it earlier, so it's so fun to watch her reactions. Anyway, Penny, I was right. The story follows Penny and Garrett. Penny has just moved back to her small town, and I think it's in New York, but I'm not, yeah, I guess it is in New York, because I do remember them going into Manhattan in the book. She is moving back to like her foster grandmother's house, moving after she's died. I'm sorry. Moving in with basically, I guess technically they're like her foster sisters. They were all raised together. She's moving back. She wants to be a journalist. Basically, she's hired by this big firm, or yeah, big firm basically, that's run by Garrett, our other main character, and his brothers. He has like 100 brothers. He is the son of a cult leader basically. So his father has a bunch of wives and there are a bunch of kids. He is consistently trying to get his brothers from the cult. Does that make sense to me? So there are like 20 of them living in one house. That's not my point. Anyway, long story short, Penny ends up being hired as his assistant. He hates it because they have like a weird run-in where they hate each other. They've convinced themselves that they hate each other just from this one interaction. Penny is obsessed with Halloween. She loves all things Halloween and pumpkin spice, and Garrett's the complete opposite. He hates the holiday, and this follows their relationship, the progress of their relationship, and her helping him land a deal with this other big corporation, and Halloween. I don't know if any of that made sense. Okay, I have a few notes. So like going into this, I didn't have high hopes. I wasn't really expecting much. Like I said, I read this book solely because of the cover of it. So I can't necessarily say I was disappointed because I wasn't expecting anything, but I was disappointed with this book. It was lacking flavor. It was missing something for me. The way I compared it when I was reading it was because it is very spicy, very smutty, but it was still missing something that I could like be like, ooh, that I got with other books that I've read. Forgot what I was saying. Oh, the way I've described it is it's more of a pumpkin spice, you know, where I'm looking for habanero. Or I also described it as pumpkin pie, which is good, but I want sweet potato pie, you know? Some people don't get that reference. Some people don't believe that sweet potato pie is better than pumpkin pie, and you're wrong. It felt like a Wattpad fanfic. Actually, I read fanfics with more substance to the book and more like spice. I'm gonna keep making spice references because of the whole pumpkin spice obsession in the book. Like I said, I've said it several times now, a bit more substance to the book, more of the characters also, and a little less of the Halloween puns and pop culture references. Like I'm not opposed to pop culture references in books, but there were a lot and they were annoying. Also, I found that the sex in the book was mediocre. It was quick and it was just, could you get any louder? Oh my god. Quick, and it was basically the same. I mean, they might have been different locations, but the setup and the outcome were all the same, you know? Why? Also, speaking of which, there are several times, I mentioned this in my vlog, where they do the do in the morning, right? And they're just talking about her lady bits just still being primed and ready from the night before, and I'm like, my girl is going to get a UTI. She's going to get a yeast infection. Garrett doesn't care about you, Penny. Clean it up a little bit, sis. Just moving on. Another major pet peeve, which is, it's not a major pet peeve, but it bothered me a lot. There's a scene in the book when they go to Manhattan, and the thing that bothered me was they've just been talking about, I think, are they in a limo? They're in like a rented car or something, and just zipping around the streets in like Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan, and I'm like, where in Manhattan are you not stuck in traffic? I think they said it took like 30 minutes to get into the city, and I'm like, where? The lies. I like in Manhattan, you're stuck in traffic on the sidewalk, trying to walk down the street. Don't do that to me. My neighbor, this is really getting on my nerves. This is really, okay. So I did not really enjoy this pumpkin book. There is a Christmas one that I want to push through because I hate myself. I think, I'm not sure if this is also like in the Svensson, that's Garrett's Family series, because I think like that's a series and each one revolves around a different brother and like the relationship with said brother. I don't remember if the Christmas one is a Svensson book or if it's a whole other story, but it's something about a candy cane, I think. I think I gave this like a 2 out of 5 stars. It didn't do it for me. Let's move on. Ideally, I would stop recording and then refilm this later, but this is the only time that I have available to film this video, so I'm really sorry. Anyway, let's move on. I'm gonna have a meltdown. Next, I read books that I will never not love, you know? Next, I read The Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins, and like I mentioned before, this is the 10th time that I have read this series, and it never gets old. So if for some bizarre reason you don't know what The Hunger Games is, it is the story of Katniss Everdeen, who lives in District 12 in Panem. She lives in a world, she lives in this dystopian world where every year 2 kids from every district have to go to the capital, have to basically fight to the death in an arena competition known as the Hunger Games. On the day of the reaping, her little sister Prim is chosen. She volunteers as tribute, and she and Peeta Mellark, sorry, I just said it the movie way and I hated that. Peeta Mellark are chosen. She finds out Peeta's been in love with her forever, blah blah blah. They win the Hunger Games. Book 2 is they are sent back to the Hunger Games in the Quarter Quell. Katniss is unknowingly the Mockingjay, the face of this rebellion to take down the Capitol. Book 3 is the war to take down the Capitol. My battery's flashing. I love these books. There's not much else to say. I love the story. These books have always, I think, if you ask me what books kind of like influence my writing, I'd always go back to these books. I think a lot of my not in like a copycat way, but a lot of my characters are like have like a lot of Katniss characteristics. Always have this strong emotion. Finnick Odair is the love of my life and he deserves better. Ooh, there's a part in Mockingjay where Gale is being ridiculous, no shock, and he's talking about how he was worried that Finnick had also fallen in love with Katniss, and I'm like, honestly,
I would like to see it.
I wouldn't be mad at it. Sorry, Peeta.
Sorry to this man.
Hello, I'm back. Battery is charged. Where was I? I was gushing about the Hunger Games and the magnificence that is Finnick Odair. Nothing has changed. I love these books, and I am so excited for the new Hunger Games prequel, even though I hate the cover and I'm not that fond of the title, but it's what's inside that counts, right? And I am desperately hoping that Suzanne Collins does a book tour for it. Next, what did I read next? I finished listening to Catch and Kill by Ronan Farrow on audiobook, and that is basically all of his research and interviews regarding the Harvey Weinstein mess and the Me Too movement and the players involved in that, basically. And that was it was a really good listen. Ronan narrates it, and he is a quality narrator. I mean, his mother is Mia Farrow, so I don't expect anything less. And, you know, his father, Frank Sinatra. Anyway, it is sometimes just like really hard to listen to these like tales that what these awful men did and like got away with for so long. Mostly Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, I always want to say Weinstein, but Weinstein, who can rot forever. I don't know, I'm weird talking about audiobooks for some reason. I think part of it is like sometimes audiobooks are a little difficult to listen to. This one wasn't that difficult because, like I said, I really enjoyed Ronan's narration, but that's that on that. The last book that I completed in November, I loved, and I think I loved it a lot more than I think I thought I was going to. What did I just say? Anyway, and it's House of Salt and Sorrow by Aaron A. Craig. Now, this is the Alcrate edition, I believe. This book is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. The main character, Annalie, lives in this like seaside manor, castle manor, whatever. Her father is a duke, and she was one of 12 sisters. At the beginning of the story, I believe 3 of them have died. The island believes her family is cursed. Their mother has also died, and they believe that the curse is going to continue taking out the sisters one by one until there's none of them left. As her sisters continue dying one by one, Annalie starts to believe there's more at play here and that her sisters are actually being murdered. So this story is kind of dark, and I saved it for this time of year. When I read the synopsis, I was like, ooh, this is gonna be a good one for like late fall, early winter. Open all the windows and get cozy and read, and I was not wrong. So like I said, this is like a very dark story. There's dancing, there are ghosts, there's a murder plot, there are gods and demigods, and I loved every second of it. I flew through this book. I buddy read this with my friend Christy, who I met at Booknet Fest in September, and we both just like were gushing over it. Not only is this a princess 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, it's also like a nod to Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe, which we all know I'm a hoe for Poe, and I've always loved Annabel Lee since I first read it, I think in like middle school, elementary school. There's also like a Rosemary's Baby type element to the book. There's just a lot happening. There are a lot of twists going on. I didn't really know what was happening for most of the book. Like, there were some plot points that I did guess, but the way we got to them was very twisty and very like, what's going on here? The only like negative quote unquote thing I'll say is I was a little meh on the romance aspect of the book. I don't care. It felt like kind of flimsy. There wasn't a lot of substance to it. I think that if this wasn't a standalone, I believe this is a standalone book. If it wasn't, and we could like flesh out and like strengthen the romance a little bit more, I would have liked it more. But I really enjoyed this book. I knew I would like it because I love retellings. I love like this like darker retelling. I've always loved this 12 Dancing Princesses. I love Edgar Allan Poe. I just said this, even though going into it I didn't know really that it had that Poe element to it until I actually started reading, picked it up to read, and read through the author's note that came in the Alcrate edition, and it does mention it. I was like, oh wait, now I'm really into this. But I liked Annalie as a character. She was a little too trusting for my liking, and she didn't really investigate things as much as I wish she had. But I liked her. She had so many sisters that I really couldn't keep track of them, but I really liked the little one, Verity, I think her name is. She was a cute element to the book. I kind of wish there was more to the story. I always appreciate a standalone, but I feel like there are still a lot of questions at the end of the book that I would like to dive into going further. Even if she did like a, you know, it'd be cool if she did like a series that all took place in the same world, but maybe following a different sister, or even following their stepmother. I forget her name right off the top of my head right now. Morella, I think that's her name, and what happened with her afterwards. That's what I'm really curious about. What came out of that storyline. But anyway, I liked this book. I think I gave this a 4 to 5 out of 5 stars. I'm glad I held it off as long as I did. So those are the books that I read in November, and now we're halfway through December, and I've read, how many books have I read? I think I've read four. I've read 4 books already this month. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that sounds better. I have read CBB and CBV and 2 other like romance novels. I only liked one of those. I'll talk about those at the end of the month, hopefully for real this time. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your favorite read of November was and what your favorite read so far of December is. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. All my places are down below so you can follow me, and I'll follow you back, and I'll see you very soon.